This is my Nikon D780 with a 300mm PF lens. Beautiful lens, f4. And I love this camera, but before I had a D850 and D810. This is my other lens. I just have a couple of lenses, that's it. This is 18 to 35. You know, what's the f35 to 45G, but it's not as sharp as let's say Sigma or Tamron. Especially I tried Tamron 35 1.4, but this one weighs just 350 grams, whereas Tamron was 2 pounds, 800 grams. So anyway, everything is fine, great about this camera, you know, lightweight, lots of options, new options in the menu, beautiful live view. But the one thing I wanted to change was I wanted to get sharper images, and of course one way would be to change to a better lens. Like this 300 is very sharp, but this one is not as sharp as I would like it to be. But I like the low weight, the lightweight, and it was not cheap. I think I paid about 700 Canadian. But I decided to go the different route, and I knew about this company before. It's called Live Pixel. Live Pixel, what they can do is they can remove the low pass optical filter or AA filter on your camera. And D850 and let's say D500, I had the one before, they don't have the filter, and so the pictures, especially on D850 and D810, also doesn't have the low pass filter. So they're saying that on average like 25 to 30% sharper. Yeah, you can have some distortion, but it can be fixed in post-production. You know, those moire and stuff like that, those patterns can be improperly pictured, but I'm not afraid of that. So I sent the camera about 2 weeks ago. I filled out the order on the Live Pixel. I think it's livepixel.com. I'll post a link below. And it's about, for this cam, depends on the make and model, but I noticed that the average price is $350 US. But that is for standard processing times, which can be anywhere from, I think they said 15 to 20 business days. If you want it faster, if you want like 4 business days, that's extra $150. And so I went that route, so I paid $350 plus $150, and they sent me instructions, and plus for the shipment, I think. Yeah, you have to pay for shipment. And they sent me instructions of what to include, and all they want is just the camera. And you know, we communicated via email a few times, and they said, yeah, even the battery, because that can be sometimes a problem when you ship the camera. The post office might, you know, say they don't want the battery to be included. And I double checked with these guys, and they said, oh yeah, for this camera we have lots of battery, so you can ship it without the battery. And so I just shipped the body with the cover on the front, and no memory cards and no battery, you know. And I use just a generic box. They don't want it to use a Nikon you know, factory box, because they say we may not be able to return it, something like that. And so anyway, so I shipped it, made sure I packaged it you know, nicely with all the precautions, and I sent it with full insurance. And I just picked up the camera today, and everything looks fine. The shipping was extremely fast, and they don't charge you for shipping to ship back. And so I just took out these my 2 lenses, 18 to 35 and 300mm, and went to the river in Cambridge, Ontario, and took some shots. And so far I'm pretty pleased with the quality. They do look sharper, especially with this lens. And one downside to this is that you can lose the ability. There can be some basically some deviations in the auto white balance, and they tell you this from the beginning. They say one potential downside is you might have to set your white balance manually. And so all these pictures you're about to see, because they were shot outside under the bright sunlight, I just chose direct sunlight, and I don't see any issues in the pictures. So here's the pictures with some of my commentaries. So I grabbed my Nikon with no anti-aliasing filter and went to the river over here. So I'm using 16 to 35 lens, and that's the river where the subsequent shots are taken. But first I had to get back to my car and change the lens for the 300mm lens. And I did notice the improvement in sharpness. Like, the car looks very sharp in all meanings of the word. Now here, two ducks were warming up their bones. They're sitting on the rock in the middle of this little river. Then they went for a swim. Enjoying the weather, and this river is not very fast, so it was easy to focus on them. And then this guy was, I'm guessing he was trying to catch some fish or something, just jumping on rocks, staring intently at the water. Now this little family, it's hard to see at first, but they have a little duckling in front of them. Here you can see a bit better. It was still a bit far. You see, the 300mm lens was not. I was still pretty far. So this is the same family with the duckling. So actually, I was standing in one place and a lot was going on. So it was interesting just to watch and try to grab some shots. Now these two. The one on the right was feeding like crazy, trying to find something under the rocks, and the one on the left was like staring at him or her without moving, kind of like, what the heck are you doing? The one on the left was not moving at all. And then this next shot, I just took a picture of the bridge just to show the details, and everything looks very sharp, very detailed. Again, this is a 300mm lens. Now this seagull was standing on a little rock, and there's some little creek was coming into here, and it was sitting there. I wasn't sure what she was doing, and then that green-headed duck finally swam away, and something spooked these three geese or ducks, and I was able to snap off quite a few shots, and they looked pretty sharp as they were flying. And I was able to capture a good position of the wings. So all in all, I do see a good result from this AA filter removal. I think it was a good investment. Finally became clear what the seagull was doing. Turns out she was fishing. The reaction was instantaneous. As soon as she saw this tiny fish swimming into the river from that little streak, she just did this little dance and grabbed it. And I couldn't believe my luck, I was just standing there trying to take a picture of her, and all of a sudden she started moving. But thankfully I had a pretty high shutter speed, like I think it was 1/2000th of a second, and I was able to capture all this without any previous intent, you know. It's like sometimes you're waiting for something and it never happens, but sometimes you don't even think you'll get lucky, and then you see something like this. It was really cool. So the fish was really small, so as soon as she was done with it, and of course she just took it all whole, she went back to her place on that rock waiting for more fish. And this guy became very interested in the same activity when he saw the seagull was lucky, you know. And this one was trying to fly away, and then I captured the last shot. I captured the heron walking under the bridge. So all in all, it was a good test. I'm very happy with the results. Highly recommended. Thank you.